What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's another shop day, another Fab Time video, another off-roading answers. But today's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna do a quick rundown on what I need to do here coming up soon, and then obviously we'll jump into today's video. Anyway, stick around. Hey guys, so this is going to be kind of a different video. What it is kind of like a channel update, all the things I have going on, what we're going to be doing here in the next future. And then I am going to do a real quick video on how to install a brake controller in a JL JT for the trailer. The truck had the max tow package. It didn't come with a brake controller, but I'm going to install one. Pretty simple. Got this stuff from eTrailer, and I'm going to show you that stuff real quick as well. Also, I'm still having the issue with the reverse camera not working. The dealership saying, 4 to 6 weeks to get it fixed. I don't know what we'll do with that. I now have the probably the new most notable error light, which is the locker light. And it generally comes on after a long trip in early miles. And I think we're at 5,700 miles and the locker light's on. What it is, it's a sensor generally in the rear diff. And because you're on a long trip a long ways, that oil gets hot in the rear diff, gets super thin, and seeps into the sensor. So essentially, Chrysler doesn't have that available right now either. They don't even know when they're going to have the sensor. So the DIY fix for it is something I'm going to have to try to tackle, because here pretty soon I'm going to be doing snow wheeling, and I'm going to need all 4 tires turning at the same time. That being said, I'll cover that video with you guys so you can see it, because again, this is something that randomly happens, and it happens to people that generally do long trips in their JTs, that 21 and newer, obviously 20, some are susceptible to it. Generally it's 21 and ups have this issue, but that's something that I need to get fixed quickly. Other than that, I have some configuration changes I want to do on Kong. And then I have some stuff that I was lucky enough to get for Christmas that I want to get installed. And I want to show you guys those videos as well. I've also been asked to do a welding video, so I'll tackle that too. I think it's going to be a step process. I think the way I'll tackle it is, I generally weld in a MIG, but I've got a stick welder as well. If you TIG, that'll be a little bit different than what these will go about, but generally, most people have the accessibility to a MIG or stick welder. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a few of them. Basically, the first video will be about startup and how to judge what you're doing and how to make sure you have the right wire size and the right stick size, and generally how to just go about starting. So that's what we'll do with the first video in that series, and the second video will kind of cover more of, mating 2 pieces of metal and definitely hand technique and stuff like that for, holding the gun. But that's something else. And then other than that, I'm gonna have some changes going on with Kong. I'm gonna make some manipulation changes to its outside appearance. I wanna build a rack on the front. I've run into challenges carrying some extra wood in some of these places that we go to because they're barren, and so I'll end up leaving a camp where I harvest a bunch of wood and set it up and get it ready for the next guy, but then I can't take anyone with me because I really don't have a place to put wet or sloppy wood. So I'm gonna build a front frame on the top of the Kong. It'll house the generator, and it'll also give me room for the spare wood during the times that we're on a trip and wanna take some to the next campsite. I wanna do that. And then furthermore, I want to add some accessory lights to it, lights that are switch indicated. And so when you open the door, it'll trigger a switch and a light underneath the trailer will come on so you can illuminate your feet. This last year, we ran into snakes twice where that was an issue. And I don't really want that to happen again. I'm not a fan of rattlesnakes. And a lot of times, guys, we're pretty far away from any kind of help, and if something were to happen in that kind of scenario, you'd be in dire straits to get somewhere really quickly before you suffer some, you know, catastrophic issues from it. So I want to take care of that. And then other than that, I have a set of lights that I've got that I want to get onto the big guy, and I want to change kind of some of the stuff I have. There is something coming. I'm going to build some front knuckle mounts for a set of lights. That way, as you steer the tire this way, those specific lights will turn with the wheels. So regardless of where your truck is pointed, if you want to see something, instead of having the old school way of a spotlight and stuff like that, I'll be able to literally just turn my wheels and move those spot beams to where I'm looking. And I think this will help with crawling. I think it'll help with just sheer driving on trail. And then of course, you know, maybe on road when there's no traffic, I can use those things to kind of better help corners, because you turn the wheel, it'll illuminate the corners and blind spots. So I want to do that as well. Anyway, let me show you this stuff. I've got another surprise that I want to do, and I'm going to put this guy in the trailer just to give me a secondary alternative source of heat. And I think it'll be a cool DIY for people to see it and realize that it's something pretty easy to tackle. Anyway, okay, what we have here is this guy. This is a diesel heater. It's a Chinese. I got it off Amazon. I spent days and days during the Christmas break trying to identify which one I wanted, which one had the best reviews, and then they're all basically the same. So I just finally pulled the trigger on this guy. I'm going to be adding this guy to Kong, and the reason being is I carry diesel anyway because of the Gladiator, and it's always safe to have a secondary heating source, considering, like I just said in the previous clip, I plan to do, you know, winter camping here pretty soon, and that's generally when in my area, central North Texas, and then New Mexico and Colorado get pretty cold. From now moving forward, you know, it's January, I think, 3rd, and that being said, the rest of this month into February get really, really cold in my area. So I just want to make sure that I have the ability to heat the inside of the trailer when I need to. I don't know if you guys know, unfortunately I used to be a super tough guy, but I since had to start using a CPAP machine about 2 years ago. The unfortunate thing about that is I cannot camp in cold weather with cold air in the tent or in the camper without ice chips starting to form inside of it and blowing at frozen air and ice into my lungs. That's just a recipe for disaster and getting super sick and pneumonia. So I've had to kind of manipulate how I do things. I used to be super happy about it. Oh, I'll just throw a tent anywhere. I'll hook a tent, you know, in the snow, and that's fine with me. But unfortunately, I've graduated past that. Unfortunately. Next thing, what we're going to tackle today. Like I said, the Jeep didn't come with a trailer brake controller. So this is what I did. I went to eTrailer, and Draw Tight makes a unit, this iCommand unit, that will handle anything between one and 4 axles, and it's also pre-wired. So the neat thing about it is Takonsha makes a harness for the JL and the Gladiator starting in 19 all the way to now. This harness, not many people know about it. Maybe that's why they haven't tackled it themselves. But this harness, here, I'll show you guys. I'll open it right up. And then I'll show you guys during the install. But this is the side that goes to the back of the controller. There's actually a pre-wired plug up under your dash for this guy right here. That's the extent of your wiring. So basically all you do is determine a place where you want to put it, install it, run your harness through either your dash or under your dash, and then slip this right into the factory connector, and you're done. So we're gonna knock that out today. Another thing I've got is these coal lights. I wanted to show you guys these. I wanted to add a pair, like I was telling you, to the front bumper. Oh Lord. So what I did is I got with Colite and ordered another set of these ambers. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with these, but as far as cost-effective lights, I am super, super happy with the fit, the finish, the longevity, the brightness, just how well they operate. You would be amazed. So these guys right here, these ambers, I'm going to put on the front bumper, and just assist the KC Slimlines, the Pro 6s, to just do a little bit more with amber light when I'm needing it. Again, if you guys haven't run these, I just try them out. I'm done breaking the bank for things that fit the mold, and these guys do all the things you need. So keep that in consideration. Now, that being said, those ambers, I have another set of whites. And these are what I was talking about. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll let it focus on it. But these guys do some serious projection. Now these are the lights that I'm going to put down on the knuckles. And so, like I said, as I steer left and right, these lights will do the very same. And so I should get a lot of visibility out of them. And the reason why I'm doing it is, depending on how new you are, how old you are, to, we'll call it overlanding, crawling, cramping, whatever you want to call it, about 9 times out of 10, you never get to camp on time. Which means you're usually looking and setting up in the dark for a camp. Unfortunately, this is the way it is. We try to do our best with, even after many, many years of planning, trip planning, considering the type of terrain you're going through, it still never fails that it's dark. Or where you wanted to camp originally, showed up and you're like, nope, I don't like that. Or guess what? Somebody's there. So you can honestly never have enough light on the front of it when it comes to doing what we do. And if you do it seriously, I try to go as much as I possibly can and go to the far out reaches of place. Well, when I get to those places, there's never any light. So anyway, moving on. This moves on to our next project, what I was telling you about Kong. So look at these bad boys. I'll give a shout out to Texas Lander. He got me on these things, and so I got a set of these. And what I'm going to do, and I did get, I don't know if you can tell, but that's a red lens. So I'm going to do a red lens on these, and what I'll do is right when you open the door, it'll project red illumination underneath there, and I'll show you how I plan to do that. I'm sure you guys are wondering, how is he going to do that? It's impossible. So, with these switches right here, so what you do is when your door's shut, this button is depressed. So you mount it in a fashion that when the door shuts, this is depressed. And then when you naturally open the door, it opens, and when it does, is it connects the circuit, and you can see the circuit here. It's 250 volt. It connects the circuit, and it illuminates your light. And then again, when you shut the door, it turns them off. Now, I will have an exterior switch built into this series. That way, for whatever reason, if I want to go ahead and turn those on and leave them on manually, I don't have to leave the outside doors open. We don't want bugs and critters inside our camper when we're trying to sleep. That's never too much fun. And then, lastly but not leastly, this is something that I think everybody should keep around. These are waterproof exterior switches. Now, it's waterproof and it's sealed, but what I do is this wire is small enough that you can drill it and put it anywhere, and I 3M them everywhere. I mean, you can use silicone too. I do that a lot, but you can use these to be able to, at any point, add a switch in line with anything, and they're going to be waterproof. And it's not something you have to add a box and then a switch cover and all that stuff. It's something pretty simple. Anyway, guys, that's what I've got coming up here in the near future. Like I said, I'm going to build these brackets. I'll cover that in a fab video. I'll build the brackets for the front bumper. I'll cover that in a fab video. I don't know. You guys have to comment below if you guys want to see me install this system and do the wiring for it, so you guys can kind of understand some simple 12 volt. But it's pretty easy. But the heater system, I will chronicle. I think everybody will be interested in seeing it, and so I'll get that chronicled. As far as that, Like I said in the first clip, as soon as I get that rear end taken apart and get my locker fixed and running, I'm gonna be out of here. I'm heading to the snow, taking Kong and the machine through the snow. I think the trail slayer is ready to go do some trail slaying in the snow, for sure. But we're gonna go get something done fun. But anyway, hang around. So now we need to determine where we're gonna put this guy. Now, in all old school trucks and all the trucks that I grew up driving when trailering, you know, they're always mounted in this kind of configuration or something like that. I just don't really like much around my knees. Right here, I have a switch that I use to control the inverter that's in the bed slide. And what it does is it controls and applies power to the pancake compressor. So when I'm on the road and we're heading out of the trail, I can go ahead and kick that thing on, kick the compressor on, and make sure it's full when I get to the end of the trail to air up. That being said, that kind of takes up the space right there, and it was flat, and I was okay with that. But I don't want anything in here when I'm transitioning my knees. So actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy and mount it on right on the side of the console, closest to the switches for the locker. Let me see if I can turn that around and show you guys. So that's kind of what I'm talking about right there. So with that being said, I'll just be able to mount it like this and route those wires right underneath. Easy for me to reach down with my right hand and kind of control the gain and boost of it. So that shouldn't be a big deal. Now, the first thing we're gonna have to do is pop this bad boy off. And I've kind of started by doing that, and it's pretty simple. And you'll see that it's got 4 clips that you're gonna have to break loose, and it's not real hard. Anyway, here's my actual controller that goes back. And this is just a remote wire that controls this panel. That again is a remote accessory switch for my inverter. Now, the neat thing about JLs, and I'm sorry about my dirty floorboard, but the neat thing about JLs and JTs that have the tow package and stuff, and I even think the sports, I think it's still added, is the trailer wiring is still in it. Now, is it hard to find? Yes, but if you find it, what you do is you look way up in here. And way up in there, there's a connector right on the side. And it's a gray connector, and I just reach up there and I'm gonna break it loose and we'll tie in directly to that connector, and then our wiring is done. That's the extent of our wiring. So stay tuned. So guys, now you can see what I was talking about. There it is. It's right there in the left of the screen. And so it's just barely tucked up on the wall where, you know, your emergency brake would be in a regular car, but it's kind of just tucked back in there, and all you do is reach up there and feel around and you'll eventually get it popped out. Anyway, let me get the harness out and I'll connect it and we'll go from there. So you can see, guys, this is real simple to do. I've got a 1/4 inch nut driver. Same thing down here, 1/4 inch socket, and then these are the little bitty screws it comes with. You can change those screws if you'd like, but it was all pretty simple. You can kind of see where it is. It's up and out of the way, and like I said, I can easily reach down in here, and if I need to reach the immediate brake control, I can just hit it like that. It's super simple. So now I'm basically going to just take my wires back up and under the column and then over to that port, and that's it, guys. So let me get that knocked out. Okay guys, you can see it now. It's safely out of my knee movement. I'm not gonna have any kind of issue with it. And like I said, it's pretty simple to reach down and hit my boost gauges or gain. That's generally something you do prior. I've been towing a trailer a long time, so it's the same trailer I tow every time, so it'll pretty much be set on the same button. So once I get it set, it won't need to be changed. I will tell you this, that once you get it installed, you need to go ahead and hook up your trailer. And you need to go through making a couple random passes with it, because it's going to set you to the tow settings. The tow settings are in the manual, and it'll show you which boost level. Boost level
basically controls how fast it increases the brakes applied. So the heavier your trailer gets compared to your vehicle, the boost levels will increase. Mine won't be on B1, considering it weighs less than the Gladiator, so no big deal. But other than that, guys, that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was quick and simple, and then, you know, a bunch of random information, but I'm gonna go tow this thing around the block. So thanks for watching.